Hello, 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 and good morning. This is Bobby Jones, and this is Anchor Watch. Thank you for joining us today. We have quite the topics to cover. So, for the opening salvo, we're going to talk about what's happening with Ukraine and Russia because the visibility needs to be there. Israel, Gaza, the crisis intensifies. And on top of that, we're going to talk about some other foreign issues. Qatar is back in the news based on what happened with the recent quote gift unquote. And then finally, we'll also talk about things that are happening here at home, specifically immigration, deportation policies. So, without further ado, let's go ahead and get to the anchor point here. Uh, Ukraine, Russia, United States. This is a very, very interesting dynamic because we have now moved from diplomatic efforts from the Trump administration and we have now moved into the bravado phase. Now, President Trump said here in the last 24 hours that he is giving Russia 10 to 12 days, 10 to 12 days to come to a ceasefire with Ukraine. Now, if you know anything about Donald Trump before he was president, after his first administration, and now into the second, this is his default 10 to 12 days to 2 weeks. He'll always say about 2 weeks. It's a standard delay tactic. Okay. He likes doing this because he thinks the attention span of those watching him will go away. And you know what? For the American public, that may work typically. However, this is not the American public that he is talking to. He is talking to Russia. He is talking to Vladimir Putin, who has a memory as long as all outdoors. And he's talking to a government with a security apparatus that takes names and keeps them logged. And so the former president, Dmitry Medvedev, who swapped places with Putin to basically maintain Putin in power when they were constitutionally limited, has come out and basically said, we are not China. We are not Iran. We are not any other country you deal with. If you continue this rhetoric, then we will be on our way to war. So let's recap escalatory language diplomatically from President Trump and even more escalatory rhetoric from Russia as a response. Now, I don't know how that makes the situation any better. I don't understand how ramping up the heat diplomatically and internationally makes things better. But this is what has happened. The fallout from this is very simple. As the United States is helping to rearm Ukraine, as the EU is helping to rearm Ukraine, and they prosecute their war, and they're trying to be more offensive because they can't just sit back and keep taking these hits. The incentive for Russia to come to the negotiation table is lessened. Why? Because it will visibly look like Putin is capitulating to Trump. And you've got to understand something about Vladimir Putin. This is a man who has not capitulated to any American president, and you better believe he won't do it with Donald Trump. I mean, this is a man in Donald Trump who said, I believe Putin over our own intelligence services in Helsinki in 2018. He is a man who has every point in his foreign policy with Russia pivoted opposite of what previous American presidents have done. So for him to throw this out here is very interesting because what happens when he doesn't back it up? You know, in the military, there was a saying in World War II: when you have these red lines, you better be prepared to deal with the results if someone crosses them. This has happened throughout foreign policy in the Cold War, where you set these red lines, you have to be prepared to follow through. I don't know if Trump is prepared to follow through, but most importantly, what does following through look like? What will be the results of Trump's administration if Russia does not come to the negotiation table in the next 2 weeks? That is a question that I don't have an answer to. Moving on to the Middle East, Israel, Gaza. The Knesset, which is the parliamentary body in Israel, has just voted to annex Gaza. This is significant because Gaza, the West Bank, various areas in Israel proper have been designated for Palestinians and their lives and their use. Now, there have been settlements all throughout those designated lands that are illegal. The United Nations has said this in the past. Various countries have said this in the past. The big deal is it definitely stops a two-state solution from taking place, which countries around the world are now ramping up that conversation. Everybody is talking about, okay, we need to revisit the two-state solution. The Knesset's vote today was a direct result of the rhetoric that they're hearing as far as the two-state solution. Now, I want to be very clear. Separate the government of Israel from the Jewish people. Separate the people of Palestine from Hamas and any other government organization that has ran their lives. Look at the political entities. There are illegalities and things that are happening that are separate than the people who are suffering because of it. And recently, a voice from the past, someone who I only knew as an actor, um, he played the role of Montoya in Princess Bride. Mandy Patinkin recently had a very powerful rebuttal to what's happening in that area of the world. And we're going to bring it up real quick so you can take a listen.
Jews all over the world to consider what this man, Benjamin Netanyahu, and his right-wing government is doing to the Jewish people all over the world. They are endangering not only the state of Israel, which I care deeply about and want to exist, but they are endangering the Jewish population all over the world. He is the most dangerous thing, not just since October 7th. It has been a deeply troubled situation.
And endangering the Jews by endangering
Yes.
those in Gaza.
And to watch what is happening for the Jewish people, to allow this to happen to children and civilians of all ages in Gaza, for whatever reason, is unconscionable and unthinkable. And I ask you Jews everywhere all over the world to spend some time alone and think, is this acceptable and sustainable? How could it be done to you and your ancestors, and you turn around and you do it to someone else?
I really have nothing to add to that. It's pretty powerful. Obviously, he is Jewish. He is seeing the big picture that, to be completely honest, the body politic around the world is not. If you go eye for an eye, tooth for a tooth, basically you leave people blind and starving. At some point, Benjamin Netanyahu's got to make some realizations. He's engaged in Gaza. He's engaged in Syria. He's engaged in Iran. Israel is knowing nothing but perpetual war on multiple fronts. He's also engaged in Yemen. Totally forgot about that. How is this making the Jewish people in Israel safer? I don't know. As someone who's been in that area of the world and has had to see these things happen in real time, it's scary because you have children, you have elderly, you have people who really have nothing to do with politics, who just want to live a peaceful existence, and it's being thrown away. And more importantly, the military service is compulsory over in Israel, meaning the draft is for everybody once you get to a certain age. This is a complete generation of young people that have just been in perpetual war. They've called up reserves. They have held people whose time is up still in what we call a stop loss. It's bad. It's bad. And the thing is, President Trump, Israel, Hamas, they all seem disinterested in coming to the table. I don't know what good power is when there's no one left to rule over. That's just the way I see it. And then turning back home along those lines of things that don't make sense, the deportation policies that the Trump administration is putting out here is draconian, and I'm being very nice about it. First of all, the fact that the ICE agents And the people that are being hired to do this are masked. They very rarely, if any time, show warrants. They very rarely do a good job of confirming identity. And understand the big, beautiful bill that was passed, the amount of money that's involved here. The budget dwarfs all of what the Marine Corps gets to do real world operations here domestically, over $100 billion. But go on to government hiring websites. Okay. I want y'all to take a look at that and see just how much money is being offered to now become an ICE agent who specializes in capturing and deporting people. We're talking $60,000 sign-on bonuses. We're talking dang near six-figure salaries. We're talking money that is well above the average government worker entry level. We're talking money that literally they're trying to buy your soul. So if you've seen some of these videos that are circulating because of social media, you're seeing Latinos that are wearing ICE badges and stuff going after their own people because the money is so great, because they know that they will be protected if they go after others. This is unbelievable. When you think about it at its core, it's the same things we have seen in fascist regimes. It is the same thing where you increase the police state and you're seeing a natural reaction to it. People of all backgrounds are standing up to these people saying, you can't do that. You're not allowed to do that. Where's the warrant? People are recording and they're putting it out there. And if you've noticed something here in the last week, you've seen less of Kristi Noem. You haven't seen Stephen Miller. You haven't seen the architects of this, because there is a moral conflict that is now hitting the streets and social media is broadcasting it all. Yeah, Jared, I agree. I agree. And what we're seeing now are more American citizens that are being rounded up and taken in. The video that really, I mean, I had to go out and do a 2-mile run when I saw it, where you had a husband get taken in front of his wife. He's an American citizen. He just happened to have the curse of being brown skinned. His brother is an officer in the dang Marine Corps, and she is just losing her mind because she cannot process what is happening. And they didn't care. And on top of that, they threatened her, even though he is an American citizen. It's going to get worse until Congress decides to do their job. It's going to get worse. We now have programs that are trying to repatriate American citizens. Think about that for a second. It's unbelievable. It is unbelievable. I'll be back next week for any questions. And if you have any type of issues, please hit me up on my Substack. Just for those who don't know, I am president of Veterans for Responsible Leadership. We're basically a group of veterans, about 10,000 deep, who are looking for ethical, responsible leaders that know what accountability means. That word matters, and who have the best interest of the country, not themselves, not their party first. So again, see you next week. Thanks for listening. And if anything breaks over the weekend that's important, I'll jump on here and go live. Thanks a lot.